Hello, you're watching Daily News on All News Nigeria. I am Okweyemi. Here are the headlines for today. TINUBU orders DSS to vacate EFCC office. Petrol station sealed over high pump price. CHIDINMA OJUKWU'S murder case stalled. Welcome back. Now the news. President TINUBU on Tuesday, May 30, officially started his duties as he ordered DSS to leave EFCC office in Lagos. You would think the first thing on his agenda should be how to calm the storm he steered over his fuel subsidy removal comment, but it appears the new president is taking it step by step. President Ahmed Tinubu ordered the Department of State Security Service (DSS) to vacate the Lagos office of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC). The president gave this order a day after the DSS took over the Ikoyi office of the EFCC. According to a statement posted by the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Media Center on Tuesday evening, the president gave a directive when reports that DSS officials prevented officials of the anti-graft agency from accessing their workplace was brought to his attention. All News Nigeria had gathered that the DSS officials arrived in Lagos State on Monday and parked on the road leading to the office of the anti-graft agency. The staff of the agency had gone about their work peacefully as they thought DSS operatives came around for the maintenance of peace. But after EFCC officials ended the day's work, the DSS men moved into the premises and then prevented them from gaining access when they resumed work on Tuesday. The DSS, however, dismissed insinuations of a dispute between the two agencies. In reaction to the development, the EFCC described it as strange, saying that both agencies have cohabited in the facility for 2 decades. Perhaps after DSS order, President TINUBU would pounce on CBN Governor Emefiele for all the anguish he put the masses through over Naira redesign. Emefiele looked quite uncomfortable at Aso Rock yesterday. Shortly after a brief reception at noon on the forecourt of the presidential villa, TINUBU went into a closed-door meeting with the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, and the NNPC General Manager Mele Kyari. We patiently await the outcome of the meeting. Moving on to the next news, Mele Kyari, Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited, says the federal government still owes the firm the sum of 2.8 trillion naira spent on petrol subsidy.
This subsidy cost should have been money that will be given to the NNPC maybe on monthly basis or even on daily basis if necessary. But however, since the provision of the 6 trillion in 2022 and the 3.7 trillion in 2023, we have not received no payment whatsoever from the Federation. That means they are unable to pay, and will continue to support the subsidy from the cash flow of the NNPC. That is, when we net off our fiscal obligations of taxes and royalty, there is still a balance that we are funding from our cash flow, and that has become very, very difficult and affecting our other operations. We are not able to keep some of this cash to invest on our core businesses, and the end result is that it can be a huge challenge for the company. And we have highlighted this severally to government that they must compensate NNPC, they must pay back NNPC for the money that we have spent on the subsidy. Fortunately, also by virtue of the provisions of the law and also the Appropriation Act 2023, it is no longer available for that funding. And we are very convinced today that the country can no longer fund this subsidy bill, and they will not be able to pay NNPC. And therefore, we are pleased to note Mr. President's commitment to elimination of this subsidy because they can't afford it anymore. And we will take necessary steps to ensure that we recover our costs from the market, and also being mindful of the fact that a situation like this can lead to exploitation of customers, and we're also working with the regulator who is here with me to see how we can cap any such excessive management of greed, to say the least. And this will be contained by virtue of the provisions of law, the authority or the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority, and the Anti-Competition Agency.
Addressing journalists after a meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Abuja on Tuesday, Mele Kyari said the subsidy payment was no longer sustainable as it hinders the company from funding its core businesses. Mele Kyari said the NNPC made the petrol subsidy payments from its cash flow, noting that the government has been unable to pay back the 2.8 trillion naira spent so far. Meanwhile, long queues have resurfaced at filling stations just as the product was sold for between 350 naira and 600 naira per litre. Interestingly, a petrol station was sealed for dispensing petrol above pump price. According to the sources, the ETNL petrol station was selling at 600 naira per litre.
This thing is very wrong, sir. In a state where we have a government sitting up, and funny enough, this thing is a pronouncement from the president yesterday that has not even been implemented. How can you be so wicked? As at yesterday, this guy was selling fuel at 200 plus. 230. You change it to 600 naira. Today, overnight.
Commuters, especially students and civil servants, were groaning as they were stranded across the state following a hike in transport fares by over 100% by commercial drivers. Finally, on the news, one of the most famous murder cases in Lagos have been stalled yet again. The trial of CHIDINMA OJUKWU, the prime suspect in the murder case of the late Chief Executive Officer of Super TV, Michael Sifo Ataga, failed to proceed on Tuesday, May 30, owing to the absence of a lawyer. Justice Yetunde Adesanya of the Lagos High Court sitting at the Tafawa Balewa Square subsequently adjourned till June 8 for continuation of trial. CHIDINMA, a former 300-level mass communication undergraduate of the University of Lagos, is standing trial alongside one Adedapo Quadri and her sister, Chioma Egbuchu, on a 9-count charge bordering on murder, forgery, and stealing preferred against her by the Lagos state government. She is standing trial for the murder of the Super TV CEO Sifo Ataga. The murder was said to have been committed in a serviced apartment in the Lekki area of Lagos State. CHIDINMA and her accomplices were arraigned before the court on October 12 last year. And that's it on today's news. For more updates, kindly follow us on all social media platforms displayed on the screen. We'll be back with more news updates. Until then, stay tuned. I am Okoyemi Olubemi. Do have a lovely day.